Welcome to GoFamFits. We're your hosts. I'm Taylor Hoball, and this is Zach Schmidt.
Howdy.
And we're going to be talking about some stuff that, how's the phrase?
With the Family Guy term of Peter Griffin, it really grinds my gears.
Yeah, we kind of went on an on-prompt little podcast going on here. Didn't want to take too much time, but I just saw something just this past week on Cinema Day, which is a $4 cinema day for everybody to be able to come around, hang out with their friends, families.
Never heard of this, by the way. I wish I would have known.
It's a National Cinema Day, guys. If you didn't know about it, which may be a sketchy thing to do now, you're able to go to the movie theaters with your family, and, you know, it's $4 movies all across America. I think majority of movies at least do some kind of discounts. A lot of them do the $4 movies. With that being said, there was dozens of cities across America, you know, that experienced different kind of teen attacks or fights or brawls. You know, there was let me see here. Actually, I took a little note because I was so disturbed by it.
Yeah, no, it's disturbing.
I know. I called you immediately. I was texting you. It was late at night when I saw this little article.
Right. No, we got fired up. We had to get together and do something and say something about it.
I didn't understand it. But in Del Amo Fashion Center in Torrance, California, there was more than 1,000 teens gathered. A lot of them were fighting. They were either watching the fights. 30 minutes later in Northern California, another one started with 50 teens. Over the next couple hours, more than 100 gathered. Fights were breaking out. Shots were happening. One teen was actually stabbed, taken to the hospital. Non-life-threatening, but still, teen got stabbed.
Wow.
Another one in Boston, and this is just a few of them. You know, another one in Boston where there was 13 youths arrested, and the last one there's 50 youths arrested, and probably because there was only so many cops, you know, that can be able to arrest so many people.
Goodness.
In Boston, 13 youths arrested from ages 12 to 17 years old. These were jumping on the backs, putting these officers in chokeholds. They were jumping on these officers' cars. In Albany, New York, similar things happened there. And it's just like now, because when we were teens,
That was never a thing.
I
was telling my wife that. I was like, I don't remember this ever, like 300 plus kids getting together and just deciding we were going to have some giant brawl in the middle of a mall.
Yeah.
Like, why is that something that is a goal for kids to see? Like, who can cause the biggest fight? It was almost like, was there some kind of TikTok challenge we didn't know about, or social media thing where people just got together and said, we're all just going to come together and fight? I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, when, like you were saying, when we were teens and we used to go to the movies together from 12 years old to 16, 17, we go to the movies sometimes now together. You know, we used to get dropped off by our parents. I remember getting dropped off by your mom, by my dad all the time. And it was, watch out for the creepy dude.
Yeah.
Not watch out for the dude or the girl or whoever you go to high school with, for them randomly, all at the same time, to know where to start gathering, where to come. You know, and it seems like it was almost a social media planning. But
had to have been. I mean, with that many kids in some of those areas, there was one that I think it was 1,000 plus kids or something like that.
Let's Torrance, California.
Yeah, let's look at a couple of these videos here, and we can see kind of some of these reactions that you could see from the crowds of people that were there, and exactly what was going on.
Yeah, brawls like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So when you see that many teens gathered, and the scarier thing is when I was a teenager, there was never really any plan or structure to the things I was doing. It kind of makes it scarier when you're going into it because you know these kids have no plan to what they're doing. They're just thinking a little bit of chaos. Hey, there's fights over here. Let's go see what's going on. And a lot of these are just innocent kids that were at the mall hanging out with their friends, going to the movies on Cinema Day with their friends. And all of a sudden this just happened. And you see some of these videos, like I just want to show, like, look at this video right here for a second.
There were multiple brawls involving people in the same age group under 18 years old at movie theaters across the country yesterday. It was National Cinema Day and many theaters were offering $4 tickets. About 300 kids started fighting outside of an AMC theater in Emeryville. Police say one gunshot was fired, but no one was hurt. Only one person.
Yeah, that right there blows my absolutely mind. You actually see a kid just jump straight down onto a head of this other person randomly. And a lot of these people were just attacking all random. And this was, again, happening all across from New York, Boston, all the way to California.
Yeah,
you know,
somebody had to know something. There's not enough information onto why something like this happened. And I
Yeah.
think us as parents, we deserve the rights to know, like, why did all these kids get together? How did all these kids get together and find out that they should do some giant brawl like this? Because I want to make sure I can help my kid avoid that type of stuff. Was it on TikTok? Was it on Instagram? Where did this information come from? Because there had to have been some type of pre-planning to this. No way 300 plus kids get together at one mall on a cinema day. I understand maybe, you could get some kids there on that day, but honestly, who goes to movies nowadays?
they're starting to finally come back.
They're
They
coming
have
back a little
comeback
bit. They're
going
coming
on.
back, and I could see something like that,
Well, that's what
causing a lot of people to come. But all of these teenagers that just knew, hey, let's go to the mall this day. I don't know if they knew because of Cinema Day that they could cause more mayhem because there would be more people, but it had to have been pre-planned.
And it scares me because me and my wife, we planned on going to Cinema Day, and I can only imagine, again, like we were saying, we used to get dropped off all the time. You have a daughter that's 9. We used to get dropped off at 13, 14 at the movies. Mm-hmm. It's like, how as a parent am I going to have this child with my wife and, years down the road? Even, I think about it, I'm not going to take my kid to a movie because I'm not that kind of parent as them as a baby, but 4, 5, 6 years old, some of these like little kid movies that come out, I definitely want to go and experience those moments to be able to take my kid to the movie. And now I got to be something that for generations has been one of the most wholesome family things you can do. I have always heard my grandpa talk about how he used to get a quarter from his dad, and it would get him popcorn, a snack, an ice cream, a big large soda pop.
Hey, go back to quarter snacks and popcorn.
Go back to quarter snacks. But he used to talk about that, and that's something that still lasts today. I remember my dad giving me a little bit of money, being able to go look at all the arrays of those boxes of candy, and then seeing the popcorn spill out. And I want that for me and my kid.
But you're terrified to bring them.
And it's turning, to just, hey, let's watch it at the house. They're dirty now. They're this now. And I hate that. What's happening to movie theaters and malls and places where if I want to, especially malls, like I'm going to bring my baby to a mall, right?
Right. Like, I've got a 2-year-old. How am I supposed to go and let her enjoy doing something if I have to worry about her being trampled by 200 kids that just started some giant brawl on a Saturday at a mall? Like, I can't predict that happening. I can do everything I can to try to prevent her getting hurt, but 200 kids come trampling down some small runway area in a mall, and we're standing there and just so happen to be, and my 2-year-old's stubborn. She's a 2-year-old, so she wants to walk and do her own thing. And, next thing I know, there she is on the ground getting trampled by a bunch of kids because they're all running around and being crazy. That terrifies me. And I really don't bring her to the mall because of those reasons. If we ever go into the mall, it's immediately like, scoop her up, and of course, you've got the other worries of people just snatching your kid up at the mall as well. You leave your eyes off them for 1 second. Next thing you know, they're getting abducted by some random person. So that terrifies you as well. But but this shouldn't be a worry as parents. You shouldn't be worried about a bunch of kids just being absolute idiots and that could cause harm to whole people.
You also got to think about it this way. This could also, it could be your kid involved without your kid even thinking that they're getting involved into this kind of thing. You're just there as a parent, and you're thinking, you get asked by a question by your teen, hey, a lot of my friends, we're actually going to be meeting up at the mall. We're going to go all see movies for the cinema day. We're going to go afterwards. And she just sees it on social media. Hey, we're all meeting up. We're all doing this. You're supposed to do this. Because it sounds like it was more of a social media gathering. Hey, And sometimes, maybe your kid didn't have a plan of going to the movies that day. We used to do that. We used to say we're going to go to the movies, and we would skip, and we would just go walk around the mall or something and hang out with some girls, blah, blah, blah. We used to do that.
Right.
And it's kind of an innocent white lie. And if my teen chooses to do that and she's over here just thinking, okay, I'm going to go to the movies, and instead I'm just going to go hang out with my friends. We've done this before. Apparently there's this big gathering that's going to be happening, a lot of people, and there's nothing that's saying that's fighting, and there's just only, a small minority of people, just a little bit of people, a little group of chaos, a little reckless kind of bunch of teens that start these brawls, start these fights, and now all of a sudden your daughter, your son is kind of in the middle of it. Say someone randomly hits him, and now he's fighting with these guys. He actively showed up. He actively engaged in fights. He never meant to cause the chaos or be a part of the chaos, but now he's getting, taken away in handcuffs. It's just what I'm trying to figure out is how, because that seems like a situation that probably majority of these teens, I feel like majority of these teens, when you hear about the 13-year-old kids that were jumping on the backs of officers, they were there to do it.
Right.
They were
knew
that
what they
small.
wanted to
They
do.
were those small people that were going out and trying to cause that.
Yep.
But I feel like majority of these kids were just onlookers, just those
Yeah.
people on the outside being like, damn, wait, what's going on? What's happening? And then now there's 1,000 kids gathering around fighting, and then other kids in the crowd that were just there to watch are getting a little heated and stuff. And
Pulled into stuff, and they get pushed,
fighting.
and dude, it just turns into a giant.
How do you avoid just such an innocent act? How do you get your kids on that mindset of just, right when you see that thing, you got to get out. You got to avoid it. You got to find the safe place.
You want to avoid those situations. There was a business trip I was on, actually, in Indianapolis. I was at the Pew Pew convention with the NRA, and we were walking in downtown. I was just there with a couple of work people. We had just finished a meal. We were walking in downtown Indianapolis. We're talking, not a bad area. It's, known for, they've got the downtown football stadium right there. It's a pretty nice, decent area. People all walking around with bachelor stuff and, just getting married and a bachelorette and all that. Really cool little night that they're having. A dude going by on a cart with a horse and carriage and stuff like that. Just looks like a great little city life night on a Friday night that I think it was. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we just hear all of this screaming. And we're probably 50 yards away, and we see about 13 kids come running up to us. And we're like, well, what's going on? And they're like, oh, all these girls, they talking shit, they doing all this. And we're like, what the fuck? Like, whatever. So we just kind of keep walking, and then we kind of notice a larger group of kids as we're getting closer and everything. And then we pull up, and there's probably 35, 40 kids there, and they are just all out brawling in the middle of the street. And these kids are like 13 years old. I'm not talking like 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. These are like young children out here brawling in the streets. And I'm so beyond myself. I was just so flabbergasted that, like, where are all of your parents? It had to have been almost 10 o'clock at night.
And don't get me wrong, we used to do stuff just like that, but that I feel like is exactly what we're here like doing is how do we teach and raise our kids to be better than us, to not get into those things. And don't get me wrong, when I say we used to do those kind of things, we used to get in fights. We used to
everybody had their fights.
We used to gather as teens in the backyard of teenagers, and there would be 30, 50 people in there, and there'd be a fight between 2 or 3 people, 4 people going on. And that used to happen all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it never did, but I also remember there was those kids. Well, hell no, I never saw a fight that big. Those were just kids. But there was those kids that always like showed up and like they would be like, "Oh, nope, not supposed to be here," and they would back out and leave, and they would know to leave. I just want to know, like, how am I training my kid to actually get in that mindset? Where he's just going to see it and know to avoid it rather than going to the mall, seeing this big gathering, and walking up wanting to see, instead of walking up being, Curious George over here, how do we get him to be like, that don't look good?
That don't look good. I know you want to raise the kid that's going to step up and like tell people to stop, but when it's a large crowd like that, that's how those people get sucked into it, no matter what.
Yeah, I want them to be
so
courageous.
yeah, exactly. You want them to try to step up and break some people up and everything, but next thing you know, he pushes a guy off of somebody and they're cold clocking him, and now he's in the middle of a flat.
And it's just
or he gets sucker punched from the back because somebody thinks that he's jumping in, and now he's hurt or something like that happens, and that's so worrisome for a child because you want to raise them to be courageous and be that leader to step up and say, don't do this.
Yeah.
But you also want to raise them to be that smart person to say, hey, this is a little bit out of control. Maybe I just need to step back and let this be handled by somebody else.
Yeah, and I just see constant videos on Instagram. Like, when we were kids, and I feel like it's with us at this age now. I don't know. It seems like it may not be. But we used to have the belief that if a fight randomly broke out, it's probably getting broken up within a minute.
At least.
Within a minute.
There's some adult somewhere ready to come in and stop that fight from happening.
Yeah.
Or if not, some bigger kid than all the rest of us that isn't going to let it happen.
Yeah. Now, it just seems, and, I hate this because I'm not one of those people. And, my wife, Brittany, she sometimes hates me for this because I am always one of those run into action kind of people, and I've gotten into trouble for it. I've gotten hurt for it, but I've always been one of those guys,
right.
know. With that being said, it's just, you see these people nowadays so afraid to, or just they feel like they're watching a TikTok video. When fights break out, it's one or two things. People from the outside jump in to cause more chaos, or they stand back and watch it with their phones in their hand videoing it. And you just see this every single day. With back in the day, if on a subway or on a street, there was a video I saw in the Shops of Legacy that happened 6 months to a year ago. I honestly can't really remember, where this dude had this girl captive in his car. This girl was trying to escape from the car, and this dude was just beating her senseless.
And nobody stepped in.
There was a gathering.
Yeah.
And I used to live in the Shops Legacy, and I'm just over here thinking, oh my God, if that was me walking around and I would have seen that, I would have just...
See, it was hard for me to step in that setting because I'm in a work setting. I'm there with people that I work with. These are young kids.
Well, no, I'm not
and
talking
so, like,
about...
I get what you're saying, but I'm giving that example.
A young kid's brawling those
So
kind
maybe
of
that's how
situations.
these people feel because they look at it as in
when
like...
it's a big brawl, I'm not jumping in that.
No,
if
fuck
there's
no.
I'm not putting myself at risk.
No.
But I'm just saying there used to be this, this hive mentality among everybody that, hey, if there is 10 of us and there's 2 people fighting,
we can stop.
We can all stop them real quick. We don't even have to say anything to each other.
Yeah.
We can break up. Now, if there's 2 of them and they're fighting, let them fight, and then let one of their friends get heated, and then he's just going to randomly go punch one of their friends, instead of them just being like, all right, guys, okay, guys, let's break it up. It's not that anymore.
No.
And it's just, you see it on road rage all the time.
Yeah.
I had a guy just riding my ass the other day, and I guess you're just so tempered up, you're so ready to go when you're riding, you're already on edge, because everybody's driving 70, 80 miles per hour,
Right.
But this guy was just riding my ass, and I finally had a chance to get out. I didn't do anything. I didn't brake check him. My wife's in the car. I would have been brake checking the fuck out of him if she wasn't.
Dude, I know
but
that.
She freaks
I
out.
hate that.
But so I finally was able to get over, because I'm not going to speed the fuck up to get over, and there's other cars on the side of me. So I finally get over, and when I get over, this guy, instead of just going past me, speeding in the same lane.
Gotta stop and say some shit.
No, he doesn't do that, bro. He decides to, immediately cut over into my lane in front of me.
And then start brake checking.
Immediately cut over in front of me and then slow down and then take off.
Oh, my God.
And I'm just like, bro, that can cause the wreck. It's just, what is up with this mentality?
I think
today?
people don't ever think.
How do we teach our youth? How do we teach our kids? How do we teach, like, our friends? I don't know, man.
You have to teach consequences.
Where's respect?
Yeah, respect consequences. Like,
It's not even about consequences. It's just
well, I don't
it
feel
just
like a
should
lot
be
of these
like,
people.
get respect, give respect.
Well, yeah, but
You know?
but that's kind of one of those parts of respect is that I think a lot of people just think respect is going to be given to them, and they don't understand the consequences of disrespecting somebody else. Like, that is what we see so much of today is there is no respect. People only want to care about what likes and shit they're getting on social media. That's why I think everybody doesn't live in a real reality. That's why we see so many shootings and things along those lines, because I don't think people just take it as seriously anymore because it's so easily accessible and seeable. Like, right there online, you can go watch a video about it, and it's just normal to you.
Doesn't that make you, though, like, to me as a person, when I watch all of this stuff online more often, it makes me more alert. It makes me more, like...
But that's because I think in the world we grew up in.
It doesn't make me more ready to fucking punch somebody. It makes me more ready to avoid the outbreak of getting into that fight.
Yeah.
Because at this point, if this dude does wind up cold clocking me and knocking me out, with back in the day, if I used to get knocked out, and I would not think someone's going to drop a foot onto my face. Now, with every single video I see, it seems like the trendy thing to do is to just drop a secondary foot onto someone's face as they are straight planked onto the ground.
No, I mean,
what are we doing?
there's no, like I say, I think people see too much social media and they're normalized by seeing these things. I gotta say. Oh, by the way, we are not sponsored by IHOP.
yeah.
We just like to steal their coffee mugs. So
I don't know if we should even have the label up there or not, but it's cute. So.
I mean,
sorry, IHOP.
if we got to blank it out, we will.
No, though, I think IHOP approves of this because they don't want at 3, 4 a.m.
A bunch of people coming in and fighting at their restaurants.
Riots. How
Yeah,
many times
oh
have
God,
you been?
I bet.
I've been in IHOP now twice in my life.
They're
and
like
honestly,
they're like the upscale Waffle House.
I should go get my Waffle House cup because the Waffle House cups represent more of the freaking chaos that we're speaking about right now.
Well, you see a lot of videos with
That's
that
what we should
lately
be doing.
too.
That's why every time we're having one of these little segments, we're gonna have either an IHOP or a Waffle House cup. It's because these little chaotic moments that happen at 3 a.m. around drunk people with adults
now happening with kids.
Kids
on normal days
in cinemas at 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's not acceptable.
Waffle House, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Waffle House is turning into America. Like, America is turning into 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Waffle House.
Yeah.
You know, tag that. I don't know if anyone ever said that.
I think Mike Judd had it right. I think it's just idiocracy in full-fledged form. Like,
it is turning.
There is so much influence that comes from so many different sources for all these people. So that's why I think we are seeing so much of this. Like, why would somebody knock somebody out and then continue to beat on them afterwards? Well, because that's the videos they see on social media, and they know that they're being videoed right now, and they want that extra clout. So go for it.
And can we not, like, just start meditating, start working out, guys. Start taking a second. I don't know what you do. I don't know what y'all do. Give us advice. Give the other audience advice. Comment, whatever you want to do. If you hate us for saying all this, I don't care. But
if you hate us for saying all this, you are the problem.
You might be the problem, but you may not be the problem. I don't know. Maybe we're the problem.
You're definitely the problem if you hate this.
Maybe. I don't know. But with that being said, you know, go meditate, dude. Teach your kids to meditate. Give your kids an outside. Push your kids.
Yeah.
To be better, to do better, like, drive in their life. I really hope that when I'm a parent, I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to find a way to talk to my kid and let him know the rights and wrongs. Let him figure it out on his own in ways. But at the same time, dude, I want to give him guidance where if he sees something on social media that seems fucking sketchy, he's probably going to be like, he doesn't even have to come talk to me about it. He just can be he can think it like himself as a man. No, I'm not going to go do that. I know that's going to be a situation that's probably going to put me into a different situation that is not going to be good for me, not going to be good for my future.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean,
how do we get our kids starting thinking about it? It just seems like no one has a future thought process in mind. And I get
It's
it.
not like paint an image of yourself and keep that in good condition through your childhood and through your teen years. Like, you would think if these kids had like something going for them in the near future, they wouldn't have been out there fighting and brawling with each other. Like, if some of these kids were going to be getting scholarships to colleges and, you know, we're getting ready to start up a startup company, you know, at 18 years old, and they were getting ready to do this. But instead, you had 1,000 of these kids out here fighting and brawling with each other. You know, single one of them didn't have a plan like that, or they wouldn't have been out there risking everything that they worked hard for.
But it's also
for a stupid little brawl.
But it's also, you know, again, majority of these kids probably went out there not knowing that
I think
this.
they knew.
I don't. I think those 1,000. I want to give probably.
There
less-
had to have been, dude.
less
We
than-
can hardly get 1,000
I
people
wanna
together
say-
for things today.
No, but I mean, at a big ass mall, you're gonna have 1,000 people there on a National Cinema Day. So
I
what,
agree.
What I'm saying, because if you hear something going on and you just see it's those fights and everything, you're kind of going up and seeing what's going on. You know,
I guess,
that's
but-
how it is. That's how it is, man. That's how it is. You got to be realistic about this. I'm not trying to be not realistic about this, but what I'm saying is, in that crowd, there was probably 20-30% of the people that were actually driving the chaos. And then 70-80% of those kids were probably just people that were there as regular people, or people that gathered up knowing that we were gathering up to like have a teen day. But was it 1,000 kids coming up for absolute chaos? I was looking into it and they don't know.
That's what I'm
They-
saying. Like,
but-
we don't know, but it just seems so pre-planned. I would think that if there was 1,000 kids there and 300 of them came up there
But it's not
pre-planned,
1,000 kids brawling, but it is a couple hundred.
but
Brawling.
like,
It is a couple hundred brawling.
yeah. So let's say 50 of them come up there to brawl, and there's 300 kids
And they
total
are just
fighting.
attacking random people.
And they're just attacking random people. So, like, here's the thing. If they were not pre-planning this, I think there would have been... You would have seen so many of these kids trying to run away from all of it, because so many of them would have been like, dude, I'm not trying to fight, right? Like, I just wanted to come and watch a fucking movie. And then they'd be gone. But instead, everybody engaged. It seemed like everybody just came up there, and it was like Gangs of New York shit. Like, they just fucking met up right in the middle, and they fucking did their shit and went at it. Like, it's crazy to think that this is just where society has gone, that you can't even go to a mall without there being some kind of... You can't worry about getting shot there. You can't worry about your kids being jumped by some other fucking kids that are going crazy. I mean, what's the point of even going to a mall, and you might as well just online shop all the time?
What's the point of
I mean, I guess that's why we have our online retail store with GoFam, so GoFamFits.com. That'll be an easy way for everybody to get their clothing without having to go to a mall and risk that shit, so...
But this just almost reinforces that mindset, which I had, me and my wife were having for a while, that so many people our age that don't have kids yet, that are on the fence or whatever the case. This just reinforces that thought of why the fuck
Would you bring a
would
kid?
I bring a kid into a world that I can't even feel safe going into movies, or what? I have to now move to fucking Wyoming or fucking Montana.
The middle of nowhere.
The middle of nowhere, where the best movie theater seats 50 fucking people. That's what I got to deal with now.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't fucking get. I don't know, man. I want to get there, bro. I want to get everybody to a point, because it's fucking stressing me, bro.
It is.
It's stressing me.
Dude, it's worrisome, because there's just so much bullshit being... And beneath the bullshit, there is this, like, beautiful diamond, like... I guess you could literally say a diamond in the rough, but the rough is just so much bullshit. It's incredible to sit here and witness and watch as our society just essentially just crumbles, but on itself. I don't know.
And it's not even like, and what I
Yeah,
hate
how do
about
you
it, because
counter
everybody
it?
makes it political, and it's not.
No.
It's just, it's a
It's
deterioration
humanity. It's humans.
a respect, like a mindset of just the golden rule that we have always known and held so true. Do unto others what you want done unto you.
Yep.
it just seems like that is so lost. Because no one wants to get kicked in the face. No one wants to get fucked up. But yet it's happening over and over again. Every other city, not just in America, everywhere in the world. But it seems, I don't know, man. It just seems like it just is escalating and escalating and escalating. And no one's stepping up
and addressing it.
and really addressing that type of shit. They keep talking about all of this other shit that I don't give a fuck about.
Well, they're able to flood the news with politics, and now they've got an election year coming up, so of course this is going to run every news story for the next 18 months. So,
but how am I supposed
the
to
crumbling
feel
of
safe?
Society in the background is just kind of, hey, we're going to brush on that for 5 minutes today, and then we're going to immediately start talking about who you should vote for in 2024. So that's, I mean, of course, anything like that, I guess, it is going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
But our society and us learning about what's happening in our society is a big deal. We've got to know that stuff. We've got to be able to educate ourselves and learn what these kids and these other people out here are doing. If we can't,
are coaches in schools not allowed to kick kids' asses anymore?
No, not at all.
Are they just not allowed to like put a foot in an ass?
No, there was actually a coach the other day that punched a student in the stomach. Like, he got frustrated at the student and punched him in the stomach, and now he got fired and shit. And I'm like, well, yes. I mean, we can't sit out here and abuse these kids, because then they're just going to turn around and do the same thing to everybody else.
I saw this literally this morning. My wife showed me this TikTok of this student that threw a shoe at a teacher in the middle of class. Why the teacher was like just at the whiteboard, teacher not doing anything. Threw a shoe. Teacher comes up, handles this little girl. This little girl's like standing up, blah blah blah. Calls a officer in. Gets this little girl just is so entitled. She's like to the cop, you're not going to do anything. Even to the teacher, y'all can't do anything to me, blah blah blah, y'all can't do anything. And the cop's like, get up. She's like, nope. Cop just picks her up and she's like, you can't do this. And he's like, I'm doing it. Like, what do these kids think is going to happen? Where do they get this mindset from? Because I promise you, as bad as I was, and I promise you,
hey, that officer's walking in the room?
No.
Yes, sir.
No, what? That's not even. I used to get into things with officers. I used to be like, there was times I would have been rough with officers when I was kids, when I was real messed up. I remember times, but I knew damn well that I was getting into.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I didn't know this officer was probably gonna fuck me up if he did get my hands on me, or his hands on me. But I was willing to fucking do that at that time. These kids now just genuinely
don't think anything can happen to them.
Don't think anything. And you know what? When I think about me and think about how I was as a child, as a teen, rather, I was doing a lot worse shit.
Yeah.
Like, I really was. I was putting myself in positions, doing a lot worse shit, getting into, like, actually, these kids are just breaking in with all of their friends somewhere and then running out with their stuff. We were doing planned stuff. We were doing, like, shit that if we got caught for at different times, we would have been very fucked.
Yeah, no, not any crimes, though. Never any crimes. We just would have gotten in trouble.
It's already way past. So.
Oh, I guess that is true. This was beyond like 7 years ago. So.
Yeah, this is like
definitely way past. So sorry, the statute of limitations is good. Yeah, we definitely were committing some crimes back in the day.
But never did I think that if something did happen, I wasn't putting myself in that position for it to happen. Never did I think I was so entitled that a teacher or a coach couldn't slam me against the ground. My dad's a teacher, and I've seen him slam a kid when the kid tried to, when they broke up a fight and the kid tried to, swing at him.
Fuck yeah, dude.
He would throw a kid on the ground, You
got to defend yourself.
What happened?
I think this will be a good portion for us to wrap this up a little bit here, but we wrapped around right back to the beginning of all of this, where I said, these people do not understand the consequences that come with everything. The lack of respect and self-awareness that these people have in today's world, I think, is exactly why they don't think there is any consequences.
Is there consequences?
Sometimes, most of the time there isn't. Most of the time there isn't, and that is the problem.
Why? That's my thing. Like, why is there almost... Why has it gotten to these points that these kids think that there's no consequences? And when you actually kind of look at it, in majority of these states, majority of these cities,
lot of the time
majority of
there's
these places,
not.
there really isn't any fucking consequences. There isn't anything being done when you see that a misdemeanor now is okay to be stolen at $500 or less.
950 in some places.
You know, why?
What do you think's going to happen? I mean, these people are going to go in and they're going to steal shit. They're going to go in and they're going to commit crimes. And then those are just so minimal. It's like if you legalized heroin. Well, all these people are going to start doing heroin. And then eventually it's, okay, now you need a more intense drug than heroin because that's just legal and you can get it at the fucking gas station if you want it. It's the same thing with crime.
I would rather drugs be fully legal and regulated.
I would rather neither, but if you do the same shit with crime, then of course, think about the petty crimes now that your average Joe can just go commit. I'm just going to go steal $900 worth of stuff and not get in any trouble. Okay, well now I'm beyond stealing shit. I've stolen everything I can steal. But here's the thing,
if you raise your kid to be correct, they're not even thinking about stealing $900 worth of shit. Know what I stole back in the day? Beer. Know what I got caught for stealing? Beer. Know what I went to jail for a day because that judge was kind of badass and let me get out quick? Beer. You know?
You want to know what I didn't get in trouble for because I ended up putting it back and we were scared when we were stealing it? Beer.
Know what's funny too? Is because, and I was actually telling my wife Brittany this the other day, the officer, when they pulled me in and showed the picture, because it was my car that we were in, I was in the car in that time, but there was other times that we stole it, right? They got the picture of you and Tanner, you and Blanner, you and Tanner, I don't even care, you and Tanner, they got the picture of y'all two walking out.
I'm wearing a junior high t-shirt.
Because he got caught with me, so if it's, like, if people pull this up, it would already be there. But I got caught with, me and Tanner. They got you and Tanner. They thought you were me and everything. And then they had your Burnett shirt fucking on.
A junior high. I go to steal beer in a junior high
t-shirt. Yeah. Think about that, guys. He's trying to act grabbing a beer like a 21-year-old as a 16, 17-year-old. In a junior high shirt.
Come on, give me a chance.
Yeah. And they thought they were you, so that's why they got me, because we were in my car. But...
Well, we ended up not
you never
stealing.
Got caught.
Well, I never ended up stealing it because when we grabbed everything, there were literally like 4 workers standing like right there. And I was like, oh, bro, they saw everything. And we were getting ready to go around to the outside to walk out. And there's 2 dudes just standing right by the exit. And I just look at Tanner and I'm like, we got to get out of here, dude.
Well, out of the multiple times we did it, they chose that time to use that picture, and it's probably because those 4 dudes saw you, and they were like, hey, it's these guys, here's the picture, boom. And then they went and picked me and Tanner up, and I remember you called us, because they come to the back
They came to the back.
Homeboy's house.
Came to the back of Homeboy's house and fucking started arresting Tanner, and who else did they arrest at that moment? I think it was...
They arrested someone else? Someone else. Don't say the name.
Yeah, they did. I can't even honestly remember the name, so that's kind of funny that I don't have to worry about saying it. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they arrested. I just remember Homeboy's parents coming back there and being like, why the fuck are the cops out in front of my house right now? And we were like, oh, shit. Because we're back there smoking and shit, fucking rolling up a fucking joint when she comes back.
There was a little river, and we made this little shitty piece of deck. And it was kind of cool, though.
Hey, it worked.
We had little chairs up there, a little table, but that was our smoking spot,
Yeah.
It was fun times.
Fucking, dude, we were so stupid.
Yeah, and I was at my mom's, and y'all called me, and you're like, don't come home.
I know.
Don't come home. And I went home and turned myself in.
He did.
Because that is the right thing to do, and that's what my dad told me to do.
And that's why you only got a day.
I called my dad, and I was like, yo, Dad, I stole beer, because that's what I had. That's the kind of relationship I had with my dad was... If we got fucked up or if there was a problem, I would typically call him and he'd be like, well, you're going to have to do this. Which, again, like we said last time, it kind of sometimes enabled me to do that more often because I felt kind of comfortable with it. But, yeah, that was a weird moment, man. And sitting in jail for that first time was kind of weird,
Hey, everybody's got to do at least one night in jail.
I've done a couple. I've done a couple.
Weekends.
You had to go to weekend jails.
Hey, bro, I got to read 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea. and Three Musketeers.
How
Within
quickly did you read that?
10,000 Leagues Under the Sea, I read that in, it took me 2 weekends, I go in on a Friday night and I leave on a Saturday, like at 12 p.m. at 12 at midnight.
So like 4 total days.
Yeah, 4 total days for me to read 10,000 Leagues. I didn't get to finish Three Musketeers. I got about halfway through because I only had 4 weekends I had to do. Three Musketeers, I only got halfway through because during my last 2 stays there, I was just kind of fucking around a little bit more and didn't really care. I slept in some more and shit.
Being a hooligan.
Being a hooligan and trying to start shit with people. No, not really. It was just the most chillest thing ever, honestly. Just a little getaway, but you don't shower. You sit there for 2 days. You stay in your bunk. You don't say shit to people because you're in minimum security, so you want to stay there.
Yeah.
It's a good spot to be. Everybody's really nice to you. You like walk by a guy and bump into him, and he's like, "Man, no, dude, I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry."
They want to be there too.
Exactly, dude. You get outside time all the time. They get TV and books whenever the fuck they want. They get the better food, and
That's for the good kids that just got caught with a little bit of marijuana.
exactly. So it was a humbling experience.
Yeah,
Not really.
and
It felt like I was going to camp.
Camp with bars. But the fact of the matter is, when we used to put ourselves in those predicaments,
We understood the consequences.
We understood the consequences, and when we got fucked up, we knew we would have to call someone. We knew that we would have to get help or something. It just seems like these kids are putting themselves more and more into these predicaments and not even caring about consequences.
I think they care about the likes
be
they'll
consequences.
get. I think that they care first about how many likes they can get on social media.
That's a scary thing because lives and stuff used to not be a thing, and likes, not just lives, but
Likes never used to be.
Likes weren't.
I mean,
when did likes get started?
They were definitely something like that on MySpace, I think.
No, I don't think that.
I mean, you had your top 5 that you could put into your friends list. So it was like, hey, I like these people more.
There was that. I actually kind of miss that. I wish I could rank my friends on Facebook. I wish I could let people know that majority of y'all are amazing people.
I don't even talk to 90%.
But like my speed dial, some people I just need to click quicker.
I agree. I agree. Well, these are the types of questions we're going to ask to find out what do we do with these kids in today's society, because we have no idea how to handle these situations because we've never been through something like that before. We've been through fights. We've been through crazy shit. We've been to fucking jail. And even still, me and him are flabbergasted by this shit. Like, we don't understand or comprehend how these people or these parents are just letting this shit happen.
That kind of stuff just scares me. As a teen, I never witnessed that kind of stuff. I never witnessed hundreds of teens all gathering up for a brawl, thousands of teens, whatever the case. I never even came close to seeing like that. Even in school, nothing.
No.
So it just freaks me out knowing that I'm going to be having a kid soon and we're going to be wanting to go out places, do things, experience things with our child. How do we get parents, how do we get us, to focus more on what their kids' reactions and how, they do or don't put themselves in the right or wrong situations.
Yeah, gotta be in tune with
how
what's
do you
going
prepare
on.
them?
Yeah, I mean, you can't be a hovering parent and helicopter over everything they do, but you also want to make sure that you're still involving yourself somewhat. Like, you're going to the movies with all of your friends. Okay, well, I don't want to just know who else is going. Maybe I want to talk to one of those kids' moms.
Yeah.
And I want to actually ask if they're bringing these kids up to the mall and we're going to kind of plan everything together as parents, as a unit, because when you have these friends and these kids that are becoming best friends, and it's kind of that way right now for my daughter and her best friend at school, is like you almost become a family in a unit with their other family because you guys have to be cohesive. You have to work together, or else these kids are just going to start planning and doing their own shit, and then next thing you know, they're like, hey, we're having a sleepover tonight, and you're like, wait, I did not even approve of any of this.
Yeah. Are y'all sure y'all are having a sleepover
Exactly.
tonight?
So, and that's just 9-year-olds right now. So imagine when they're 16 or 17 and they're not telling us about the shit they're going out and actually doing out there. So parents, we should probably do something to get together and be okay with being more social with each other, because it's really not that bad to talk to somebody else and say, hey, what's going on with your kid's life? Like, her best friend was sick the other day, and her parents texted me and asked, like, hey, can you ask Ella if something happened with her at school, because we just want to know like why she hasn't been wanting to go to school for the past couple of days. So we just want to make sure everything's okay. And so, you know, it's like those kinds of parents. You want to have them being in tune with their kids.
You want to have that community right there.
Yeah, so it's something I think we'll touch a little bit on that next episode. We're going to run in and do some interviews here tomorrow, so that's going to be pretty exciting. Get to talk to some real life people and
I got some
see how they feel.
I got some questions to ask, man, because I'm trying to figure this out, and it worries me. It reinforces this ideology in me of like, is it worth it to even have a kid right now?
Yeah.
Should I be scared, or is it not? Am I thinking like it's nonsense? You
Yeah.
know? So yeah, man, let's get out of here. I think this was a great grinding of the gears session.
It definitely.
I'm stressed, man.
Yeah, it definitely grinded my gears there.
Yeah, it terrifies me.
Yeah, we're gonna keep up with these podcasts, just things, crazy shit like this that's happening. We're gonna jump in, let you guys know what's going on, and kind of give our reaction to it, because this is shit that affects us on the daily.
It's terrible.
So, thank you guys for coming in. Thank you for listening. We do want to again reference out our website, GoFamFits.com. We have all of our amazing athletic wear on there for your family, your dog, your kids. Everybody can match, look the same, feel the same, be a great unit together. So that's one thing we talked about today, making that strong unit. So we appreciate you guys listening.
Yeah, GoFamFits.com, GoFamFitsTV. Let's go.
Let's do it.